What's up, YouTube? Today is Tuesday, and it is wet and raining out here on the East Coast, depending on where you are. But it also, I figured it was a great time to address my audience, to say what's up, and to give a little commentary about Trump and Putin meeting the other day. So I know that you've been hearing a lot on different news channels, lots of different opinions, lots of propaganda, lots of things being taken out of context. But I actually felt the need to, or at least just want to address this because a family member reached out to me today who I've debated with in the past. And apparently, sources, the way they feel is that, sources that come from Fox News, clearly can't be legitimate because it comes from Fox News, right? And so, of course, the obvious question would be, well, where do you get your source? Where do you get your sources from? And pretty much they are the liberal media outlets. So, I had to put it in context and, let them know that, listen, these are all corporate media outlets. They're all for profit. So regardless of which side you're on, propaganda will be pushed, because as long as you pay somebody to say certain things, they'll say them. Everybody has a price. I mean, that's the way it works. So, but don't try to differentiate between the two to say one is telling the truth and the other isn't. I know during the 2016 primaries, maybe even a little prior to that, actually, when I couldn't get any honest opinions, I felt like that things are being pumped to me that are not true. I felt the need to go ahead and turn the channel. During the Obama years, I was a MSNBC person, so, I clearly wasn't that woke. But anyhow, I wanted to hear different points of view. And so I found myself tuning into Fox. And of course, not only Fox, I also tuned into social media and people who were reporting the stories as they came. So I like to get my information from a whole host of sources for the most part. So anyhow, they sent me this video of Shepard Smith, who is a Fox News anchor. He has his show. And this Shepard Smith, I don't even have the name of the video in front of me, but he basically was blasting Trump and saying that, Russia did hack the elections. He mentioned the whole 12 Russian indictments, just a bunch of garbage. But I'm like, okay, so if Fox News is not factual, then why are you sending me videos from Fox News? But it goes back to like the video I made before when I mentioned about confirmation bias. As long as people are endorsing your point of view, the way that you feel, the way that you think, then you're sharing that with me. So because this anchor, Shepard Smith, was like knocking Donald Trump, it was good enough for him to say, all right, now I'm going to send this to you. Because, of course, it's endorsing the feelings that he already has towards Donald Trump. So it's only good enough, for those reasons. But anyway, Shepard Smith, he's like, Anyway. So I brought this up also because of the whole treason notion. The notion of treason came up, and none other than former CIA director John O'Brien had this to say about Donald Trump. Donald Trump's press conference performance in Helsinki rises and exceeds to the threshold of high crimes and misdemeanors. It is nothing short of treasonous. I'm not going to continue on with it, but treasonous. So he's calling it treason. And, when I heard that notion, they've been putting a bunch of inflamed propaganda, using lots of this heavy, crazy language that provokes things and makes people just, automatically think that Donald Trump is guilty and he did something wrong. So it's a bunch of loaded crap. But I've been hearing treason thrown around in the past from liberal media outlets. And so being that this came up again, it made me think of this really awesome video that I seen by The Intercept, who they actually have a YouTube channel, The Intercept, and they have all these different dissenting and opposing points of view, these anchors that come from all different backgrounds. And so I thought what came to me immediately when they started to talk about treason was this segment that I watched that included Glenn Greenwald and James Risen, both of which, these are two authors, journalists, both of which have won the Pulitzer Prize for their journalism. So really, really brilliant writers, but having different points of view. And actually, I have to say that Glenn Greenwald, he owned James Risen. James Risen had written this article that was called, "Is Donald Trump a Traitor?" And he pretty much started to walk through some stuff that was already out there and try to kind of frame this narrative using the stories that were reported and everything to pretty much prove a point. It was funny at one point in the interview that Glenn Greenwald actually said to him, "Hey, you cracked the code to get on MSNBC. You know, you write an article with that title, 'Is Donald Trump a Traitor?' and you seem to look like that you prove a notion or a narrative there. Of course, MSNBC wants you on their show." So Chris Hayes had James Risen on the show. But anyhow, what I liked about watching this debate with Glenn Greenwald and his fellow colleague, James Risen, was that he broke down why James Risen was wrong. He spoke about treason and what treason actually is, and the textbook definition of treason. And so he also cited this, professor from the University of Texas. It's Stephen Vladek. He's a professor of law at the University of Texas. And he wrote this article, "Americans Have Forgotten What Treason Actually Means and How It Can Be Abused." And so what treason actually is. Treason against the United States shall consist only in levying war against them or adhering to their enemies, giving them aid and comfort. It must be... It also has to do with countries where Congress has declared war. So Congress would have had to declare war on a country and then some kind of funny behavior go on for you to even make the claim of treason. So treason is a crime indicating the clear support of our enemy during wartime period. We're not in war with Russia. But do they want us to be in war with Russia? I think so. If you listen to the rhetoric, if you listen to some of the comments, oh, the hacking was an act of war. What are we pushing here? And, and there was this awful video that New York Times put out. It's so funny the way that they use, LGBT community, how they pretty much pimp them. So they put out this homophobic video of Donald Trump and Putin where, it was pretty graphic. He's like, Donald Trump is like behind him riding on like a unicorn or a pony. There's all these rainbows. He's touching Putin's nipples. They've got their tongue in each other's mouth. At one point, the tongue is like poking out the side. We don't know what that was supposed to indicate. It was really, really nasty. And so it's like, it's okay when they do it because has to do with Trump. But let anyone else do that. Let any conservative make jokes about homosexuals in that form of fashion and see what kind of coverage they would get. See the kind of animosity that would come at them with that. But the liberal old New York Times, it was okay to go put this out. And this isn't the first time that they've been trying to insinuate that Putin and Trump are lovers and stuff like that. So why is that okay? So we have this recurring theme of hypocrisy that's a little bit ridiculous. And it's just nasty. It's nasty. And so I really, really, truly hope the conservatives continue to push back on some of these notions because, I mean, it's a bit ridiculous. They've pretty much shown that at any point in time, they won't stop, and it's time that conservatives have to really start to push back on this stuff. So you got crazy old John Brennan making these comments. But you also had folks like, I don't know if you saw some of the press conference. It was pretty cool because Trump was, being objective, and he was asking about those DNC servers that never were turned over. He actually started to criticize by being on the stage there. So, interesting developments, guys, interesting developments. But, with that said, there have been some of my viewers who, outside of giving me feedback, telling me, hey, you need a microphone, they have also shared with me about wanting me to do a live stream. A live stream would be cool, but I think I had mentioned back then, I didn't see there to be a lot of a demand for it. But regardless, with me and my small audience that has just, began to cultivate and start to grow, I wouldn't be able to do a live stream. So I'm not privy to that yet. I don't have those kind of privileges, but perhaps in the future I will, and maybe I'll consider doing it then. But, for you guys who are asking about me doing a live stream, I can't do a live stream right now, but I can tell you I will be on the radio with one of your favorite YouTubers named Kevin's Corner on his talk show tomorrow night at 7:30. So if you want to call in there, if you follow this channel, I don't know if you follow Kevin's Corner, but I'm assuming some of you probably do. Go on his YouTube channel. You should probably be able to find the link for his show. Otherwise, actually, I think I may be able to put the link in the bottom. I'll put the link here in this video, so you'll be able to get the link there. But Kevin's Corner, I'm going to be on there. I'm co-hosting his radio show with him tomorrow night, so I'm looking forward to that. And so you can definitely see me there. Well, you can speak to me there if you call in. We'll be talking about some hot topics. So if you care to engage me, like I said, I can't do the video, but I will be on the radio. So hope everyone is doing well. Love you all. Hope you're having a wonderful Tuesday. And I will look forward to seeing you guys a couple of days later during this week. All right. Wishing you well. Later.